Hello and welcome to the second round of the Dark Horse Bouldering Series. This is my first time competing this year, but I've competed a couple of times in the past. I really like the Dark Horse. Like, this is one of the first American comps that I'd ever seen online in videos and stuff. It kind of introduced to me what I thought of as American comps, like big pinches, big power, big moves, and then like a really big show in the end. So I think my biggest goal of today was to make the final and then see what happened from there. But it was pretty stacked from the beginning, so that was going to be a tough ask. I got there a little bit later than I would have liked, so didn't get to film as much of the warm-up as I would have liked. I don't normally just jump on the board and get going, and I didn't this time, but I just didn't get a chance to film anything. But had a chance to kind of get started and get fired up during the competitor briefing, and kind of just turned around and there was some of the slabs ready to go. I really like climbing slabs. Like, anytime I have a choice of boulder, I really like getting on the slab first and kind of eyeing in my technical ability, because you don't normally have to be that warmed up physically. This time didn't go particularly well. I ended up kind of falling off a lot on this thing. Fortunately, this wasn't one of the ones that would end up being in my top 5. This was I think number 50, and there were 65 boulders, but I did a terrible job. Yeah, so sacked that off, went down and did a crimpy boulder down the stairs. This ended up being one of the harder boulders in the round. Like, towards the end, as people kind of got tired out, this ended up being pretty difficult for a lot of people. So I'm glad that I got out of the way early, and I love this stuff, like crimping on little holds and like good feet, pulling in. Not too bad. Got a flash on that one. Unfortunately, not the best video in the world, but we'll improve for next time. So, went back upstairs. You can kind of see the slab that I was on first, over on the right. I knew this boulder should be doable, but it was a pretty technical jump. Like, you had to kind of jump across and stab the foot. The foot was pretty bad. Spent a long time the first couple of times trying to figure out body position and where to go for it. And that left hand was really weird. You could crimp in the bolt hole, you could crimp behind it and stuff. But I kept rotating during the jump, so I would rotate around my right foot and kind of spin out backwards rather than being really face on. Gave it a little go that time, trying to crimp on the bolt hole, crimp on the edge of the volume. You should always try that first. And just fell on it over and over again. I don't actually think I had the camera running. When I did it, but I think it took around 6 goes, but not too bad as my first kind of hard boulder. This boulder I had an absolute nightmare on, I would say. At the beginning here, had this really, really hard shoulder cut loose, and the time that I did it and just cut loose and tried really hard, I ended up sagging all the way out of it and had this heinous attempt at the top. I tried really, really hard, and I was shagged from the beginning, but I gave it a really good go and then dropped it. Took 20 minutes rest, got back on and kept falling on the cut loose. This is a move that I find really, really hard. That shouldery of opposition pushing away and then having to take a swing, really hard for me. So I ended up cheating it and stuck a toe hook around the corner. I'm not sure if anyone else ended up doing this afterwards, but by the time, when I found it, it ended up being by far easier than the cut loose. So I hope other people managed to get that going afterwards. But then, just again, tried really hard at the top. I knew that this last move, where I fell the time before, I was going to have to keep my foot on, and didn't think the heel was going to work. So I think expended quite a lot of energy changing it to a toe, but I managed to keep it on and pull up into the final hold, which is a pretty good jug, but not good enough that you could just jump to it and take a big swing, because there was a big opposition on the bottom. Next boulder was had a little actually a really technical first jump. You ended up having to stay away from the wall in order to kind of jump in towards the hold, and they had this kind of powerful big top section. Like a lot of people had done it with his heel, but it was pulling me down enough that I couldn't reach over the top up into the hold finish. So that time tried to match, didn't work. So then I think I ended up just kind of jumping to stuff. Oh no, put the toe in the bolt hole. This was great. I was expecting toe in the bolt hole and then like a bicycle, but ended up being able to perch on it and do like the 3 moves through the volume, so not that big pinch. And then you have this big old like vertical huck at the top. This is the move I was most worried about on the route. Dropped it the first time, you have to really get far left around that hole. When I dropped it the first time, I felt like I didn't give it quite as much as I needed to, so got up there the next time, kind of put it down, which I was really happy with. I thought that one was going to be really hard, and I think it ended up being the difference maker in the results. And yeah, made the finals. Look at that. Pretty stacked final. Was going to be pretty tough, but kind of sat back, watched Citizen around for a bit, got some lunch, and got going, got to it. Okay, so after fellow Brit Michaela Tracy crushed the final with what I've heard described to me as absolute savagery, it was our turn to have a go at the final blocks. We came out to this first one, and this is something that I really like in a final, like vertical, technical stuff, and then like maybe a coordination jump. I actually came out and was somewhat disappointed because I knew that the person before me had topped, who had qualified lower, and I knew that like this was going to be the thing that I was really good at. So what could normally be the difference maker for me in a final, like some vertical technical block, ended up being something that I think basically everybody in the final did. Still a really cool boulder. Like that first run and jump was really cool. We managed to find a little bit of crimp behind the volume and get set up on that first one, so I didn't have to run across both of them. I could just run across the second. And this top section, I got up there and just was expecting to pull off the hole and pull on my leg, and you actually had to get into this corner on the left, which felt like a really long way away, and you had to kind of do this little bouncy motion with your right hand to get up. And the texture of the wall is not very good, so I put this foot on here, and it was a little bit scary to kind of trust it. But as I got up higher and I got into the hole, I could kind of get up into it and touch a finish hold to finish off. So that was a pretty good way to start off the final with a flash. So on to block 2. It was 4 on 4 off, so I'd only had like 4 minutes of rest, but I had the 3 minutes of rest that I had left from the first one plus 4 minutes, so I was chilling. Not that the first one was particularly tenuous. So this second block I knew was going to be like a lot harder. I hadn't eyed up anyone topping it or getting close. So first go, always try and tech through the power boulder. I'm not gonna avoid that. Kind of manned up a little bit for my second go and gave it some beans. This hole was really good. Like it was almost like a little jump. It was a slot, so you had to really pull down on the right hand, and there was a weird body position at the start, so you had to kind of come across to the left and then jump over. But stuck at the second time. So third go here was getting up to this point. Really shouldery second half. So I stuck a heel in first and went up for the 10. And really pulling down that right hand, but the heel was restricting me. I couldn't get all the way over, so had to come back down. And this is something that I'm really happy with my shoulder, like the shoulder work I've been doing recently. Managed to change to a toe and then like pull up to the 10. This hole was pretty good, and then it had another little nubbin on the volume. Could get set up and then go out to the 15. The 15 again was like a pretty good crimp, but it was really quite sideways, so you had to pull on the right hand to get across. Managed to get that feet swap and then punted. What a nightmare. I'm really frustrated with this move. I think I didn't move my body position far enough left. I kind of jumped from the right side too much and then dropped it. Absolute punter. Not happy with that. I think I just rested way too long. I lost track of the time, and it ended up being, all of a sudden it was 35 seconds left, and which is plenty of time to top the boulder, but after I dropped that first move once, I just had to rush through it. Not particularly happy with that. And then the third boulder, I did a terrible job of the third boulder. This thing was really hard. Even the people who ended up doing it didn't make it look particularly easy, except Nathaniel. Just a really hard power jump out at the beginning. And yeah, not my thing, but didn't do a particularly good job of it either. So on to the rest of the finals. Zach and Nathaniel topped the second problem, which kind of put me out before I'd even got to the third one. And then Nathaniel ended up winning the thing with just this absolute crush of finals 3. Like, I tried this boulder after. These moves are really, really hard. There's a long way to go to really be pushing against Nathaniel, but it's pretty impressive to watch him climb. I think he tries to get his foot up here and tries to come back down and just slips off, but a really, really good effort, and Zach couldn't quite manage it on the day, but really good effort from those two. So yeah, just a little quick rundown of my first Dark Horse of this year. Like, I've done a couple in the past. I think I made finals when I came out for the first one, and then the one last year I didn't do particularly well at. But I just thought this would be kind of an interesting look at my day, like what went well, what went badly, like how I can improve for next time, like little things that you have to think about like afterwards. It's actually given me a really interesting opportunity to look back at all the footage and see what went wrong on like individual attempts even. Obviously there's still strength gains to come. I'm like working really hard on that and have been for the last couple of years. But it's really getting there. Like, this red point round was a really power based set. And to make it through that and like actually top some pretty hard boulders was like really, really motivating. I'm really like happy that is the case. Still though, need to get stronger, and I think I need to kind of get my finals head on just a little bit better. I won a kind of a little bit more of a local thing with some pretty strong people a couple of weeks ago, which is actually my first finals win definitely in the US, but like I think since I won the Junior British Bouldering Championships in like 2015, so it's been years. So I think that's a really nice thing to kind of get over. But just going to more of these bigger comps and like trying hard in finals and in front of crowds and stuff is like really motivating for me, and I just need to get stronger to the point where I could definitely climb the boulders, and then all I've got to do is climb the boulders. So yeah, I'll keep you posted. Bye. Thank you so much for watching. This is the first time making anything like this for me. Huge thank you to Claire and Cooper for taking the time to do some recording during the comp. Please let me know what you think. Like, if you hated it and everybody hates it, then I don't have to waste my time doing this anymore. But if you did like it and you got something from it, then let me know. Let me know what you like what you didn't like quite so much, and I'll see what I can do in the future. Yeah, thanks for watching.